That's wrong. It's gonna crash. We're gonna have to start over.
It's gonna crash. Something's gonna happen. There's no possible way we can start at 6 p.m. with you on the channel. That's just no.
You know what? I my battery's dying. That's it. There we go. My battery's dying.
I mean, it's gonna happen now. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 305, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat or the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. Also, something craftcomputing.store. I need to work that into the intro somehow, but I just haven't done it yet. Go buy something.
Yeah. If you can't buy us a beer, buy a beer glass from us.
Buy a beer glass from us and drink your beer out of that.
Yeah.
This is just as good as buying us a beer, is getting yourself a pint glass to drink a beer out of.
It really is.
Seriously is.
Really does enhance the beer experience.
I owe John like $40. You've sold some merch. Yeah.
Jeff's just gonna pay me in beer.
Probably.
Good beer.
Yeah. No, I was going through my numbers from last month, and it's like, damn, I need to send some cash John's way.
I want it all in gold Sacagawea dollars.
I can make that happen. You know what we should do? We should go back to the vagabond of just tipping with twos.
I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
I'll pay you with nothing but $2 bills, John.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, "That's genius."
It really is. Yeah,
that's so genius.
Yeah. Anyway, it's going to be a great show. We've got some disclosures from Supermicro and a digital security firm to talk about. Are they something you should worry about, or is it kind of business as usual? Let's see. John Ricticello is out at Unity after basically pissing off everyone. Let's see, what else do we got? eBay could suffer up to $1.9 billion in fines. Probably not, and we'll tell you why. And we do have some Raptor Lake refresh, the upcoming Core i9 14900K. We have some SKUs, we have some performance numbers, and we have some performance numbers. We will get to all that shortly, but first, I'm parched.
I am too.
Let's start the show the right way. John, what are you opening first? I know we're both opening IPAs, but I'm really curious to see what IPAs we're opening.
So we've always talked about this subject quite a lot on this show and my show and everything else. Just buying a beer exclusively just because of the label. I don't care what the description says. I don't care what the title is. I just love the art. And this one, 100%. happens to be that way, and I think you'll understand why. And I really enjoy the name too. This is what is it?
Now I'm
LCB
really curious.
Brewing is I'm 40% Strata.
Okay, you got me beat today.
Yeah. So triple hazy
Bravo.
IPA. I think it's 9%. 10%. So I didn't know any of that. I just saw I'm 40% Strata, buying it. I don't care what this is.
IPA, I'm 40% Strata. That's incredible. And one of my other favorite Futurama quotes, "Hello, lawsuit." So I've got two IPAs Both of them are slightly out of season by about a month. I've got a fresh hop IPA, which I should have drank in September, which I didn't.
Yep.
And I also have a winter IPA. And it's definitely not winter yet, although it's 30 degrees cooler today than it was on Friday. So it was 90 on Friday. It was 61 today.
Isn't that so weird?
61 and just pissing rain today.
Oh my gosh, it was.
And yesterday was even worse. It was, wow. The rain was coming down. Anyway, I think I'm going to go with the fresh hop because I'm a little bit more intrigued by that one. Obviously, one of the biggest fresh hoppers, and you can even get this one nationally, is Deschutes. You've got the Deschutes Fresh Hop series. Usually, it's their fresh squeezed IPA is the most widely distributed one. I had actually not seen this particular one before. Now, last month I had a Tropical Fresh, which was using the tropical IPA hops. Had a bunch of pineapple right up front. Like, it was super juicy. This one is the Royal Fresh, and it is their Imperial Fresh Hop.
Oh, there you go.
So, it is a 9% fresh hopped IPA. I couldn't pass that up.
No, right? Gotta get that.
Right.
No, I usually get, I think it's not the Big Wave Hop IPA. The fresh squeeze. There's another Imperial one. It's not that one. I don't know if it's Imperial, but it's up there, 7.5 or 8. But usually I'll end up getting that sometimes too in those big 19-ounce cans. So I'll have to see if I've had that one before.
So this one's only a 12, not a huge beer. But my next one's a pint, so we'll make up for it. Let's see. We do have a couple beer shout-outs. First off, Skull says, well, John gets $40 minus processing fee, startup fee, shipping fee, payment fees, etc. You forgot to include setup fees. Like, I had to set up my laser cutter and do all the design. All he did was give me his logos and go like, make me some merch. And so I did all the actual layout and design for making it all work. John, in the end, you actually owe me like $185. So thank you for pointing that out, Skull.
So I'll pay you that in beer. Cool.
There you go. Yeah.
I got lots of pickle beer.
Yeah. Let's see. Savim, SZAFIM, is drinking a Breckenridge Oktoberfest. I think that's the first beer shout out that I saw. Isaac's got looking like a KBS night. That's a fantastic choice. The tech guy is drinking a Bell's 200 ale. Oh, nice. Missed that one. Let's see. Jason's having an Nkasi Megalodon.
Mm-hmm.
Local and amazing. Outdorp is drinking One Tree Huckleberry Cider at 6.8%. This sounds pretty good, actually. I'd go for a cider tonight.
Yeah. Well, that's that nice fall winter. You can make those. It works.
Totally. Rodrigo's drinking a Three Floyds Zombie Dust, 6.5%.
I'm surprised that one doesn't get more respect than like the Two Hearted Ale. That's a really good IPA.
Yeah.
I know people that like use that as a clone for like their first beer. So Zombie Dust really should be in the talk of like top ranked IPAs nationally, but I don't see it that often.
There's quite a few IPAs that should be, if you're talking about like standards or goalposts, of like, if you can hit this, you've made a good IPA, and then if you can make it your own, you've made a great IPA. Zombie Dust is right in there with a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Michael's got a Warped Wing. Ohio is for lovers. Juicy IPA. The only problem with Ohio is you have to live in Ohio. Harley's got a Contrary Brewing Hop Collision Double Fry Hopped Hazy IPA with Citra, Strata, and Mosaic hops.
Ooh.
That sounds delicious. Let's see.
Got Novella's having a 9 Mile Brewing Lenny West Coast IPA, 7%. Of course, Novella usually has some pretty good stuff on hand.
Yeah.
Gabriel has a Modelo Chelada. I am sorry, sir. I must not agree with that choice.
You're not a red beer fan?
I am not a red beer fan. No, sirree. Nope.
I have had red beer on the show with Rhett one time.
Oh no, like it's pickles number one, to like raw tomatoes and raw tomato juice, just like V8. That's number 2.
Yeah.
Boom boom. No.
Yeah. I draw the line at Clamato. Like you do the clams and tomato juice? No. Out.
No.
No.
Anytime like somebody even tries to give me like a Bloody Mary, I'm just give me the shot of the alcohol. I just want that in shot form. I'll be happy.
Bloody Mary is one of those ones. It's so difficult to get a good one, but when you do, they are genuinely good. But there is so much crap out there.
Yeah. Well,
I have a really hard time ordering one because I don't know.
What you're gonna get.
Of the spectrum that's a mile wide, it's only the last 100 feet that's worth a damn.
Anyone I've even had that's like, this is decent, this is great, this is the best you're gonna. I'm like, this just tastes like really cold spaghetti sauce. Now I want pasta.
Yeah,
this is horrible.
Yeah. Oh, and you use some bottom brow vodka in it too.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. No, and of course they throw like a pickle and some raw pepper. Now I don't mind the raw pepper, but it's the pickle. I'm like, this is nasty. Or like a raw onion, which another one I don't like. Cooked onion's fine, not raw.
Yeah, cooked onion's fine. I like the ones that top the Bloody Marys with a little bit of fried food. Give me a buffalo wing, an onion ring, and
bacon.
A little piece of bacon or something like that. Like, give me that on a garnish stick, because then I can actually dip that in the Bloody Mary. And if your Bloody Mary is any good, it turns it into a very enjoyable experience. But like I said, the variance is so wide on Bloody Marys.
There, we can end it here, but like I went to a distillery that I used to love going to. It was right next to Oakshire Brewing in Eugene, and they had this Bloody Mary on their menu. Now it was $9, and you're like, oh, $9, but they had a Bloody Mary buffet bar, and it was full of fried food, vegetables, whatever you wanted, and you're as much as you wanted.
Nice.
But you get one trip, and that is it.
Yeah, you get 2 skewers and 1 glass.
Yeah, and so you just whatever you want on it. There's like my sister-in-law who loved it. She just put like a chicken leg on there, some onion rings, and she just piled it up.
I've seen one that has like 3 skewers coming out of like a wide mouth pint or something like that, with like a whole slice of pepperoni pizza and like
see that's fine with me, because
like a whole hand's worth of chicken fingers. Like, that's a drink.
That's a drink. Now, yeah, I'll take that. That's fine.
So yeah, when I have a Bloody Mary, I want that bar food, that deep fried bar food to go with it. I want a mozzarella stick and an onion ring, and it has to go with my Bloody Mary, and it has to complement it. Otherwise, no. Oh, that's right. Novella Hub sent some beer mail. I need to go get that. It's upstairs. It's upstairs.
You can just pay me in that. All right. Well, I think there's a couple more I can get to.
Yeah. So give me like 30 seconds. I know right where it's at. So I will be right back.
All right. So we've got the zombie dust. Elijah Craig. William is having an old fashioned with Elijah Craig. Great. Just curious, is that the standard Elijah Craig or rye? What are we going with? But Elijah Craig is a nice standard for an old fashioned. In fact, I almost got an old fashioned inspired beer for this show, but I think I'm gonna do a video on it, just because I love that. We got Tiger 78 is working on a black cherry ice sparkling water. Actually, that sounds pretty good. I'm more comparable to a sour cherry than black cherry, but yeah. Did you make that yourself? Just curious. All right, what do we got? Stella Atrastros. Nilsson BJ is having that. Cheers to that. No beer, Coke and whiskey. Nothing wrong with Coke and whiskey. What kind of whiskey? Yeah. Oh, just a standard Elijah Craig. Wolford Old Fashioned smoked orange slices. Ooh. Where was it? I had Elijah Craig rye. That one's fun to have with an old. But it was a wild turkey. The wild turkey rye 100 proof. Oh, it's cheap and so good to have with an old fashioned if you like that rye part.
All right, I'm back.
All right, there we go.
Cool. So I think for the sake of the show, what we're going to do is we will do the first couple stories, because I do want to talk about those, if my camera will focus here. We'll do the sponsor spot. After the sponsor spot, we'll do the beer mail, and then we'll get to the rest of the show. So that way the people who came to see the couple of big stories, we can hit those first. And then we can open some beer mail. Because I'm very excited. Novella always sends good things. And I got 2 boxes. So I am looking forward to opening these. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. Starting with the headline story, Supermicro BMCs are under attack. And does it matter? So this is an article from Ars Technica, and this is actually, there are some vulnerabilities that have been found inside of Supermicro BMCs. Okay. For those who don't know, a BMC is a, God, what is their acronym for it? God, they even wrote it in here and I can't find it now. Anyway, it is essentially lights out management. It is a board management console, chip, CPU. It is Supermicro's method of IPMI. It is a dedicated, bespoke CPU, its own system, its own power management on a server that can manage server settings with or without power to the server. All you need is a network cable going to the BMC port. It'll power itself on, and you can interact with it. You can do things like turn the server on and off. You can read fan speeds and temperatures and all of your sensor data and all that kind of thing. However, BMCs have bare metal access to servers. So, while they are not the CPU itself, this is not accessing, the Intel CPU or AMD CPU inside of a server. It's not accessing the memory inside of a server. There are certain management functions of these BMCs, and because they have bare metal access, they can inject things, or they can read data between the CPU and memory, and they can read things between the CPU and storage. They have some bare metal access to those facilities. The exploit that has been found, there are 7 of them in total. And actually, if we scroll down just a little bit, gosh, where were they? They had a full list of them. Why am I not seeing them now?
It's toward the bottom, just before comments, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, split mine into 2 pages. There we go.
Yeah.
I clicked on the comments and then read through them, and there was a really funny comment that I wanted to come back to, but for some reason, turning on the comments made me jump to another page. So there we go. Yeah. Anyway, there are 7 CVEs. Supermicro has them all listed out, and these are Supermicro's reporting on them, along with their case numbers, CVE numbers, and what they do and what the potential impact is. All of them are high severity, because all of them, in theory, would allow for taking over of the BMC. However, 6 of them, the bottom 6 right here, are all essentially cookie stealing. It is forcing someone to send a phishing link. An attacker could send a phishing link. An attacker could send a phishing link. All 6 of those are an attacker could send a phishing link and take over an active session. While that is an attack vector, it's a pretty narrow attack vector. in my opinion. It is something that needs patched. It is something that needs to be addressed. But all that you would get is that session. And, in fact, the only way you could access the BMC from these circumstances is if your BMC was exposed to the internet. Don't ever do that. Don't ever give a bare metal object open access to the internet. I don't care what your circumstances are. Don't do that. BMC is for internal management only. So, attack vector, very narrow. You have to get someone who has an active signed-in session with a BMC to click on a malicious link to steal that session. And then you have to be on the same network or have remote access to the BMC to be able to log in. Very narrow attack window, but an attack window nonetheless. If you have any of these 6 succeed, then you can actually exploit the last one, which requires an administrator privilege to the BMC. What this will allow you to do is perform command injection, essentially acting as a hardware level rootkit. So you can run malicious code on a system and inject it into the PC directly. And so that is definitely a problem. But again, you have to have a BMC session logged in with administrative access, and you have to have access to that physical device, to that physical BMC connection. It's a narrow attack vector, but it is an attack vector nonetheless, and needs to be patched. Now, most of the affected devices are at least a generation old. In fact, the vulnerability affects select X11, H11, which is your first and second Xeon Scalable and first generation Epic Naples systems. B11, which is your... Gosh, what is the Supermicro B11? B11... I think that's their ARM. Gosh, what is that? Anyway, B11 systems, CMM, M11, and H12 motherboards. Now, the H12 is one of the newest generations. That is your AMD EPYC Rome and Milan-based platform. So, you know, we're talking about systems that are 2016 through, 2021 as far as deployment. So not the newest, but certainly things that need to be taken into account. Also, you need to consider that this isn't just Supermicro branded devices. Supermicro is an ODM for thousands upon thousands of different brands of firewalls and small form factor servers and things like that. And oftentimes you'll buy a server from some random company off Amazon. It's a Supermicro chassis with a Supermicro motherboard with a Supermicro BMC. Like it just is. They do a lot of OEM and ODM manufacturing and custom building for different clients. So you might not even know if you're affected unless you know that your system is running a Supermicro motherboard with a Supermicro BMC on it, and it has one of these affected platforms. So, yes, a narrow attack vector, but an attack vector nonetheless. Make sure it's patched. Now, the reason I wanted to have comments on is this, to me, summed up the attack vector just beautifully. How can you mitigate your risk? 1, don't connect your server management ports to the internet. That should be standard practice anyway. 2, don't surf Uzbekistani goat porn while logged into your server management console. And number 3,
I don't know.
patch your firmware before the guys on the night shift get there and do both of these.
That's asking way too much, especially number 2. That's difficult, Joe. That's difficult. It's guys got niches, and once you go there, there's nothing that can get you there, and so you got to do it. That's
right.
just it.
Right. Once you know your vice, like
yeah. What's that South Park episode where they lose the internet, and he's like, "Oh, I've been desensitized. I have to have the extreme."
Yes. I've heard there's
it's
some
a ghost, I swear.
I heard there's some internet out California way.
But yeah, well, Skull was saying in our comments that he thinks it's actually a little bit bigger of a threat because most of these chips are also used, like you were saying, when someone buys something, a medium to small company would probably use this as their server. I don't actually agree with that because at the same time, with a smaller company like that, usually then that means you only have one person, maybe 1 to 2 people managing that said server. And usually those people are probably competent enough to not do the things that you were saying and like the other person's commenting on.
Yeah.
It even lowers the vector because only 1 or 2 people are even managing that server. It's not a big group. There is no night crew. There is no team going through it, you know.
I would agree that to some organizations, in some situations, this is going to be an issue. I didn't want to diminish the fact that this is a valid attack vector. Because there have been some CVEs that have been published in recent years that they're like, everything's going to hell in a handbasket and patch your systems now before everyone takes over. And it's like, do you realize the extenuating circumstances someone would have to go through to actually practice this in real life? Which, by the way, Supermicro said they have not had one single instance of any of these CVEs being exploited in practice yet. Now, obviously it's because they haven't been disclosed yet. But as soon as CVEs are made public, then attacks start to be written specifically for them, specifically targeting them. We get spear phishing incidents, that kind of thing. This is an attack vector, but I'm a little relieved that the only thing that 6 of them do is allow you to steal session tokens, which will get you admin access to an active BMC session. But that's one layer removed from it just being an open ticket to anyone to invite in. Number 2 is even if you get that session, you still have to have physical routed access to that BMC to be able to exploit anything, which is a second layer of removal, second layer of separation from vulnerability. But as Skull points out, a lot of Supermicros end up in small, medium-sized businesses, and maybe they don't have the proper practices to prevent this kind of attack. I know one-man shops, if you're not fully trained on security practices, if you're, hell, even large, corporate shops, if you're not properly trained on security practices. I'd love to be able to manage my server from anywhere. Let's just, create a firewall rule and have, 443 forward to my BMC port. Don't do that. Wait,
what?
VPN in and then access your BMC.
I gotta change a couple settings.
Right, yeah. Hey, you're the one who signed a different contract, so.
Sorry, you didn't want $80,000. I told you to charge more.
Yeah. Anyway. So yes, for some organizations, this is going to be a big deal. Unfortunately, those organizations have no idea how big of a deal this is going to be because they weren't already practicing good standards on sanitizing, access to these things. Larger corporations, this is going to be no big deal at all. So, but end of the matter, make sure that you are updating firmware for BMCs. Don't miss it. Don't forget about it. This is a very similar experience, according to the Ars Technica article, that HP had in 2001, when basically their ILOs, integrated lights out. It's HP's version of IMI. someone came up with an exploit for that allowed them to inject malicious code into workflow of your PC. Make sure your firmware is up to date. Make sure you are not vulnerable, and make sure you're not exposing your IPMI to the internet. You freaking idiots. The last thing that should come between you and an attack vector is JavaScript and an HTTPS page. Like, for God's sakes. The web development teams did not work on the security for the BMCs, so don't rely on them. Alright. Cool.
There we go. Patch your stuff.
Yes. Let's see. Let's do one more, then let's do the sponsor. This one's kind of cool. This one's just a project I came across surfing one day. I don't agree it's game-changing, but I do agree it's very cool, and I've been waiting for something like this to come out because this was the original digital SLR tech. For those who are old enough to remember digital SLRs coming out in the 90s. The technology used to be called a digital back, but essentially all we did to get from film SLRs, 35mm, APS-C, etc., to digital SLRs was replacing the medium on which we exposed light to. It used to be film, and then we replaced it with a digital sensor. The original digital SLRs were film cameras that you took the back panel off of and replaced it with a digital back, a digital sensor with all of your components on it. Usually, you also had to add about this much to the bottom of the camera for battery pack and compute. Look at the original Kodak and Nikon conglomerations of digital SLRs, but that was the original way to do it. There's a company right now called the I'm Back Film Conversion. And they have developed a plug-and-play module that uses a socket, the exact shape and size of a 35mm film cartridge. And attached to that on a ribbon cable is a micro four thirds sensor that you can stick into any 35mm camera and turn it into a micro four thirds digital SLR.
That is cool. I saw this, and it's pretty interesting. And it basically comes out with what, 20 megapixels or?
Yeah, it's a 20 megapixel Sony sensor. It's a Sony MFT MP sensor. It's a Sony IMX 269 micro four thirds. But it requires no modification at all to the digital or to your SLR. And so you can take an old Minolta or a Canon AE1 or a Nikon F3 or whatever you want and slap a digital back onto it. You don't have to modify the camera at all. And in fact, it also comes with this little module. I don't know if you can see it right here. See if I can. There we go. It comes with a little module that screws onto the bottom of the camera via the tripod port. That gives you a 1.5-inch screen for viewing your pictures after you've captured them.
Yeah, you got a little LED screen or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've wanted one of these for so long. I still have an old Minolta. This might be kind of fun to play with. This might be a lot of fun to play with.
Well, I always love the old camera because it's got the I wonder how that works. Wait, wouldn't you have to? Or no, because the adapter probably has a little gear for the film, so you can still twist it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So. In fact, right there.
Oh yeah, there.
So this is what it looks like. You just slide the 35mm cartridge in. It's got a micro four thirds sensor right there, a little ribbon cable that connects down to the bottom of the camera for your display, and that's it. It's pretty cool.
Now, the only downside I saw of this was the price point of this particular thing.
It is a boutique item. It is a now I read a good number of the comments, and I don't know if it's a game changer. It's the same price as full frame cameras from a generation ago, and it's only Micro Four Thirds. Number one, no. It's the price of 8-year-old full frame cameras, of your 5D Mark IIIs and Mark IVs and your Sony A7 IIs and things like that. It's about $600. It's what, $589? I think is what it was priced at.
$899.
$899. Okay. No, sorry.
$599 for the first model. I think there's a second model coming out.
If it makes
that was the early backers. Yeah.
Kickstarter $599. Regular price estimated to be $899.
Yes.
Which, I mean, $899 will buy you a brand new full frame digital SLR today. It'll buy you, what is it, the Canon Canon 6 6D 60 Mark II, whatever.
60D, whatever, Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, you can get full frame cameras under $1,000 now, which is still kind of crazy to me to say. But this is a small batch, boutique, specialty item, not a mass-produced item. It's going to be more expensive. They don't have the resources of Canon to throw at this. If Panasonic made this, it'd be $399. It just would be, as a universal kit. But Panasonic isn't making this. Canon isn't making this. It's literally a company called I'm Back Film Project.
This is also to the people that, like, the older photographers, the people that have, like, oh, my dad got me the photographer and he handed it down, or I have this original classic camera. And film, yeah, you could still buy on eBay, but you can't develop it, and that's the thing. How many places can you go to?
Develop it. Boy, I'm gonna date myself here. One of my first jobs out of high school was working at a camera store, and we still had an in-house in store
darkroom,
in store development and darkroom. We had the full process. I would develop and print your pictures in 30 minutes. If you brought me a roll of film, you would have that roll of film in duplicates, which, by the way, was the usual thing for, like, $14 or $12. You would get a roll of 24 developed, and you'd get 2 of each picture, and then your original negatives cut into sheets. I used to do that. That was one of my first jobs out of high school. And this was a specialty shop. This was a bespoke camera store. But, through the years, film fell out of vogue. We were still selling film SLRs, as well as some first generation and second generation digital SLRs. When I started there, gosh, we still had Canon 10Ds on the shelf, which was the first digital SLR available for less than $1,500. The 20D had just launched, and during my tenure there, the Canon Rebel XT launched. So
yeah. I mean, this is cool. I like this for the nostalgia's sake. Like I said, I always loved, and I still miss this on cameras, the turning the gear, flipping to the next one. That feeling. It's like, and this is like a gun thing, but cocking on an old, like, Smith & Wesson 6-shooter or something like that. That cocking on that's like, I don't even need to fire the gun. This is just awesome. I just want to do this.
You get me a perfectly balanced and moves like butter, Winchester 94 or something like. But it's the same feeling on on those Canons.
It really is. The old ones. And it's like, I get to sit on my couch and just push this back and forth, and it feels so good. Then you feel that extra weight on the button, to the trigger to shoot the photo. It's fantastic,
right?
Yeah, the thunk. And then now you can use that camera again as a You can be a professional photographer, and every professional photographer probably has that hobby camera, that extra special camera that they have in the corner. And, you know, if you have a little bit extra to spend, or it's a pretty decent gift for, you know, someone who's got a hobby or something. This is pretty cool. I like this. It is on the higher end, though, for, you know, not a hobbyist, not someone who's actually seriously into photography. This is something who's serious into photography and still he loves that old 35 millimeter feeling type thing. Yeah,
it is super cool. It's a super cool project. I love that it exists. Would I buy one? Even though I have a Minolta, you know, old 35 millimeter film camera still, and I've got half a dozen lenses for that Minolta camera. I also own the adapters to plug those lenses into my mirrorless, you know, to my Sony A7 IV. I can still get that full frame, you know, that creamy bokeh of some of those old Roxor lenses that I have. I have a 58 millimeter f1.4 Minolta Roxor lens that is just otherworldly sharp and creamy and just beautiful. I think I paid $12 for an adapter to mount it to E-mount, and it fills the frame on my Sony camera, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So would I rather do that, or would I rather stick it onto a Micro Four Thirds sensor on the original body, which is going to be slightly cobbled together? And also the 2x crop, because it's Micro Four Third, not 35 millimeter. That's another thing we didn't mention. I love that this exists, though.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I love that this exists. Is it practical? No. It's not supposed to be practical. It's supposed to be cool. And I love it for that.
Well, there's half the stuff. Half the stuff we talk about are computer tech guys. Is it practical? No, I just want it. Do I need 32 gigs of RAM in my hard drive, in my computer? Probably not, but I want it. You know? You don't need it.
I do.
Well, you do. That's your full... I'm sorry, the average person.
Right.
To surf the internet? No. To play Fortnite? No.
Right. I love all the arguments to, like, is this practical? Because that's not why this exists. And the practical people aren't the ones looking at buying this. It's the people who want to use that old Minolta camera and have some fun with it. So...
No, as soon as I saw this, I sent this article right to my dad. I was like, oh, you should go buy this.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, today's video has a sponsor, and that sponsor is Linode. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. Even the most skilled network engineer will tell you you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes most of the software from the tutorials that I've posted on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex servers, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as your needs go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, or NVMe block storage. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of this year. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Thank you, Linode.
Thank you, Linode.
So Novella Hub is having, for his second beer, sorry to cut you off from your next one, but because it's Novella Hub and the beer mail, he is having a Forbidden Pumpkin, which is a Imperial Pumpkin Milkshake IPA. These are words that should not go together.
Imperial Pumpkin Milkshake IPA. Did I get all those?
9.3% Citra Mosaic. I don't know. No, I don't think so. But apparently it gets like a 4.06 on Untappd.
Novella, you successfully broke John with a pumpkin beer.
No, I don't. That doesn't.
Truly...
A pumpkin and IPA. Like, I like pumpkin beers, but a pumpkin and IPA. No.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. That should not be a thing. Stouts. I've had jammy sours that are pumpkin. Those have been great, but no.
All right. So
watch. First beer you open, forbidden pumpkin. Oh, look at that.
Okay. All right. So, for those who don't know, I do accept packages. You can find my address down in the video description. And if you send me something, I will open it. If I know who you are already, I'll open it on the air. If I don't know who you are, I'll preview the package, and then I'll open it on the air. But Novella, longtime fan of the channel.
He never sends me anything.
That's not true. He sends vicariously through me.
I'm gonna drink that gin without you.
I'm gonna drink that Fremont that's been in my fridge for 2 years.
Oh my god, there's a Fremont. There's also the oh gosh, what is that brewery from Newport? Not Newport.
Fort George.
Fort George.
Oh, that's
that's like 5 years old.
Yeah, that was before I moved the first time.
Oh no. Oh man.
All right. So, first up, we've got a toppling Goliath, Rush Hollow Maple Ale.
Ooh. I've seen it, haven't had it though.
Yeah. The long-awaited return of Rush Hollow Maple Ale is finally upon us. Originally a seasonal of ours, this rustic golden-colored ale celebrates the season by utilizing maple syrup, some of which comes from the Rush family farm in Alameda County. Don't correct my pronunciation, Novella. Alameda County. Expect a slightly warm, full-bodied ale with a hint of maple in the finish. We've got a Central Waters Brewing. Call Me Old Fashioned. Brewer's Reserve. Malt beverage with cherries aged in...
Malt beverage.
Yes, malt beverage with cherries aged in used spirit barrels with natural flavors and caramel color. 12%.
Okay.
The first half of that, because of what they have to call it, has me concerned. The rest of it has me modestly excited.
Well, the fact that they don't tell you what barrels...
Yeah, it just says spirit.
Yeah, and like there are particular barrels that are very easy to get, even for like microbreweries.
Yeah, like $40.
Yeah,
you can buy barrels.
I mean, you and I can get pretty decent barrels off of like here for $50 that are still wet barrels.
Right.
So it's like a brewery should be able to do it.
Yeah, and
name where it's from. That's half the time I see something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a good barrel.
So these bottles are from the same brewer. Okay.
All right.
So we've got the Call Me Old Fashioned, which is obviously the old fashioned inspired malt beverage. This is also from Central Waters Brewing Company. Reese and Desist Stout. REESE. Brewer's Reserve. It has a little peanut on it. Bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with cocoa nibs, lactose, vanilla, and peanut butter.
Okay.
So a Reese's inspired stout.
Okay, so look, it gets a 4.
Nice.
So, although, hey, you know what we should do?
What should we do?
Maybe we'll do it this weekend or next. That would be kind of fun. I just got a beer that's old-fashioned inspired. You just got a beer that's old-fashioned inspired, and we have that old one.
Yes.
to compare.
Was the old one? No, the old one was not old-fashioned. It was...
I think it was the Fort George is old-fashioned.
I don't think it was old-fashioned. It was something
else. No, it
else.
was whiskey sour.
It was whiskey sour, yeah. Yeah.
Darn it. I was thinking we could do like a lineup of old-fashioned inspired.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun.
Because mine's like, I think 17%.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, there we go. My man. Let me get these both open here real quick. I am very happy to see that bottle show up because we had an incident last week. I sat down on a Sunday night and I'm like, you know, it's been a long week. I could really use just like a kick my ass beer. I'm wanting like a barrel aged imperial stout.
Yeah,
I want something that will get the upper hand. One and
done, and I'm gonna be very happy.
Yes, yeah. So I was looking for one of those beers. Well, I opened my fridge, and for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I had a 2021 Herd of Turtles from.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I opened, and this is just the standard Herd of Turtles. It's a pastry stout, but they do it in barrel aged. They do it in a bunch of others. This was just the standard 2021 Herd of Turtles. It turned into like a balsamic wine. It was bad. So the pastry stout has actual chocolate and lactose added to it.
That could spoil if it's aged too long.
And that's what happened. So aged it too long. Even though it was at cellar temp, it aged too long. It turned into this thin, spiky, gnarly mixture with chunks of rotten lactose floating in it. It was bad. Like, as I'm pouring it, I went, Anyway, 2023 Herd of Turtles. Thank you. Thank you.
A new one.
And the 2022 Herd of Turtles, Imperial J. Carver Bourbon Barrel Aged.
You might need to open that soon.
So there's that.
It could have been the shipping. Spoiled for the heat and temperature.
No, because I'd been aging it for a couple of years.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could have been the shipping, but oftentimes that little burst isn't enough to ruin a beer. So, ooh, I already recognize that label. Dang it, man! I just cleaned my office. I just got rid of a whole bunch of cardboard in my office. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, you. I already know their variants, and I'm going to say you bastard.
So everyone knows that topper. This is the New Holland Brewing Dragon's Milk. These are two of their reserves. One of these is the 2022 Reserve Bottle Number 3. Bourbon Barrel-Aged Stout with chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker.
The s'more.
Yeah, it's the s'more. This one is the Coffee Chocolate. Bourbon Barrel-Aged Stout with coffee and chocolate. So there we go.
Mocha. Basically.
I will add those to my ever-growing collection of Dragon's Milks. All right, and I have a whole other box here.
You want to save that for later? You want to do a couple more articles?
Let's go ahead and introduce the next article. So that would be the Intel, the Rocket Lake refresh for desktop.
Yeah, this is so.
I'll multitask.
You're gonna. All right, you want to do it? Okay, you can do it.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So there has been. What was it? The Intel's i9 1490K. There's been a potential leak again. I don't know how well this is because this is before the embargo, which is supposed to be October 16th, so it's kind of early. It's also from what appears to look like a Chinese website. There's a bunch of Chinese articles, but it's showing the i9 1490K versus the what is it? The Ryzen Raptor Lake.
The incumbent Ryzen. So that's the 7950X3D.
Thank you.
It's the current generation Ryzen CPU.
Yes. So that and it versus its performance versus 25 different games. We had to use a translator, which the article used to translate the performance-wise. And right now, it is referencing and showing. Oh, by the way, this is a 24-core processor we're talking about here.
Yeah, 24-core, 32-thread?
Yes, I believe something like
that. Yeah, 24-core, 32-thread, 6 performance cores, or 8 performance cores, 16 efficiency cores.
Yeah. Ain't no slouch.
Yeah. Versus the 16-core, 32 threads. So equal thread counts, more cores on the Intel side of things. And we know the performance cores do work, but there's still only 8 of them. So depending on how multi-threaded your system is, it's going to benefit or hurt performance one way or the other. We've got honestly kind of a mixed bag, and given the games listed, I'm not terribly impressed, because while the 14900K is Raptor Lake refined, we're not going to chiplets yet. We're not increasing binning and all that thing that is going to come with Intel's 14th generation mobile lineup. I was still expecting maybe just a little bit more out of it. So I'm going to be really curious as official benchmarks come out for this particular processor, what it's going to look like. Because obviously on older games, it is not doing very well. Dota 2, 77% the performance of the 7950X3D. Its best result is Metro Exodus and Starfield at 23% improvements, or 23% faster than the 7950X3D. We've got Counter-Strike Go at 14% up, but some of the titles that have traditionally very much favored Intel, your GTA 5, your Hitman 3, your Far Cry 6, 5, 6, and 3% up respectively. And then games like Red Dead Redemption 2, you're losing by 4%. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're losing by a full percent. Forza Horizon 5, you're losing by 2%. Even Horizon Zero Dawn and Cyberpunk, you're down, 6 and 11% on the previous generation Ryzen. To flip that is essentially the Ryzen is outperforming it via 9 games. Now, that's not a big outperformance. Right. But it is, again, like you said, the previous generation. Mm-hmm. And so that's only 15 games that it's overperforming, and it's only at its best. 2 games or 3 games are in the 20 percentile. Yeah. And the AMD Ryzen, I believe, is the $300 chip, something around there? Oh, no. It's $749. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, the 7950X3D, $749, maybe even...
650, 580, 589, yeah. So it went down a little bit. At least, again...
Are you looking at the X3D or the standard? Because there's 2 different models of the 7950X.
Ryzen 9, 7950 X3D, $659.
That's a good price. That's a really good price. Yeah, no, they can't. The standard 7950X came out at $749. That was reduced, I think, down to $599 or something like that.
Okay, not the 3D, but yeah. So
yeah, and then the 3D, the 3D came out at like $900, and so now
I'm seeing one for brand new $660.
Okay, nice.
So I mean, that's again, that's you're buying a high-end processor right there.
Oh, God, yeah.
But that's still last year's. That's last gens. And this is, at best, a few games, beating it by 20%. At best, only a couple. Basically even. Now, there isn't a price point for this coming out, but the fact that it is the new gen, even at bare minimum, you're thinking you want 30% across the board. Yeah. That's what you're wanting. So I don't know. I wasn't, like you said, not overly impressed. This doesn't make me want to go out and buy Intel again. Yeah. Type of thing.
Yeah, no, this feels like one of the TikTok release cycles of Intel of old. Let's give us 7% faster than the previous generation flagship. Once we actually get our new process in line, we'll come back to you. This is 14900K, not looking like the one to pounce on. Obviously, you should probably never update generation by generation. You shouldn't jump from a 13th to a 14th unless you're also jumping series. And we give the same advice for graphics cards. Unless you're going to go up from a 60 series to an 80 series, don't upgrade from a 3060 to a 4060. You're an idiot. Unless you have extenuating circumstances, but even then, you're still probably an idiot. Unless you have a 13400 and you want to go for, a 14800 or a 14900K or something like that, I'd save your money this generation, just based on, these early results. Now, these are totally unofficial, but this came from an Intel slide. This is an Intel slide. This could be faked.
Although, at the same time to that, if it is an Intel slide, I also have to wonder how skewed these results are, because we all know that companies internally will skew their performance to favor their product more. Yeah. Whereas reality, you'll get, once the embargo releases and all the YouTubers get a hold of it,
they'll share the results they're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so the fact that Intel themselves are saying, at best, you're getting 23%.
And on average, you're getting 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless the 14900K comes out for $499, unless we get back into serious competitive territory,
$500.
Oof.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. No. If it did come out for $500.
Oh, if it came out for $499.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking $799, honestly. It may be
especially with the 24 cores.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where pricing lands. We'll know next week.
In about a week.
Yeah. I think next Tuesday is the review embargo. So
it'll be fun to see, because then we can hopefully have enough time. What day is that? Because it always stinks when news usually breaks like Monday or like Wednesday evening or Thursday morning.
Yeah,
I know we're the last to talk about it.
The Raspberry Pi 5 was announced 5
right after the show,
5 a.m. Thursday local time. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and started editing my Xenoblade video, in which I heavily referenced the Raspberry Pi 4. And had to add asterisks because I'm sitting there watching YouTube reviews of the Raspberry Pi 5 while I'm talking about the Raspberry Pi 4 on camera.
Yeah. So, it says comes out October 16th, so that should give us 2 days. So yeah, we'll be right in the middle of, we get to see everyone's reviews probably, and we'll probably be in the mix of it. So
yep. I will say I don't have a review sample of this one. For a lot of the CPUs, I tend to try to be more project based. Again, kind of like my graphics card reviews. I want to show you what's possible with something. I'm not the top to bottom chart guy. Never have been, never will be. That's not my review style. So will I be talking about it? Absolutely. Will you see it on the channel eventually? Absolutely. And I'm happy to give you my thoughts on it, but I'd much prefer to show you what someone would actually do with the chip, not just drag race it.
Well, the nicer part too is everyone's going to be looking at this chip. And then the best part about your channel is that you get to make a video saying, you're looking at this chip, we'll look at this other chip that's now used, and you're only losing X percentage.
That's also true.
This is bang for your buck, technically, theoretically better. If you don't got the money, go with this one. And that's, I believe, probably your better niche of what people come to this channel for.
Yeah.
So I personally like that.
Thank you.
All right. Like my voice is a big thing or anything. $40 worth of glassware is all it does.
All right, the second box is open. All the beer is out. First off, from my favorite brewery on the Citadel, New Glarus Brewing in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We've got Moon Man No Coast Pale Ale.
Ooh, all I've ever had from them is
the Spotted Cow.
Spotted Cow.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Gosh, I really wish that was distributed here. It is such a good, refreshing, interesting beer because it's a saison wild ale. Yeah. It's so different than just your pale ale. I really do wish it was here.
What was really funny is when I was in Wisconsin, I spent a week in Wisconsin, and I was constantly looking for a tap house. I wanted to end my day of 8 to 10 hours of training with a beer, and couldn't find one. And the ones that would advertise like 12 taps, 14 taps, you'd walk in and it was Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors, Heineken, Hams, Milwaukee's Best, and New Glarus Spotted Cow. That was their craft. Skull says Moon Man is the best pale ale, way better than Spotted Cow. I'm looking forward to it. Like that's high praise. People don't often send me pails because the cost to ship a beer is quite high, just by weight. And so for someone to send me, a 5%er, it had better be up there because you spent a lot to get it here. Let's see. From, who is this? Brewed and packed by Black Stack Brewing, St. Paul, Minnesota. This is the Jurassic World Quad IPA. 12%. Oh. 12% Quad IPA. Thank you, Novella. Also from Black Stack Brewing, Mothership Connection Mosaic Triple IPA. This one's coming in at 10%.
I've seen that one before, yeah.
We've got the Real World Citra, another Quad IPA, 12%.
I've seen it. That's a good brewery. I've had a few of their beers. They're good. It's a great brewery.
Yeah. Let's see, any more of those? One more of those. Thirst Encounters of the Third Kind, Anniversary Triple Dry Hop Triple IPA. So this one's a 10%er. Yeah. Ooh, we got a Drecker. Good old Drecker Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
Cuddle Buddy, Double IPA. He looks cuddly. I like him. This one is... Where's the percentage? Yeah, Fargo, North Dakota. I don't see an ABV on it. I'm sure it's there somewhere, but I can't find it. Let's see. From Elm Creek Brewing in Chaplin, Minnesota, we've got 3 is a Party, Hazy Triple, 10%, with Flying Pigs.
I gotta buy my beer.
From Modest Brewing, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Double False Pattern, Double Dry Hopped New England Style Pale. So, very nice. Revolution Brewing, Straight Jacket. Oh my god.
I'm already pissed off at you. So, what else you got?
Bourbon Barrel Aged Barley Wine, 15%.
Can't say that's family friendly show.
An Arresting Embrace of Malt and Barrel,
Oh yeah. Oh, those they do good stuff.
Yeah.
They do good stuff. I've had a couple of their.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I haven't had that one, but that brewery I've had a few of their barley wines or strong ales and stuff. It's good stuff.
Oh my god!
I bet it looks like Novella went on like Tavor and ordered 2 of everything.
Most of this, I think he could buy locally. Most of this is North Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Because everything you have on there is like everything that shows up on my Tavor, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen that.
This one's from Insight Brewing, Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is Bloom Juicy Pale Ale with orange zest and tangerine. There we go. I'm saving the best for last. I picked up a can and went, I can't read that yet. From Toppling Goliath, in collaboration with Radiant Beer Company, Radiant Haze IPA with Citra Mosaic and Strata.
Ooh.
Yeah. Little Illuminati-inspired design. I kind of like that. And last, but certainly not least, good God, you're going to hate me.
I already do.
From Surly Brewing.
Oh.
Double Furious. Double Furious.
Oh, is that's the double IPA? Or no, what is that?
Whiskey Barrel Aged Double IPA. 13.6%.
Yep. I was going to say, like, that's their IPA. Whiskey Barrel Aged?
Furious Whiskey Barrel Aged Double IPA. 13.6%. Oh my! I've had the Furious IPA.
Had the Furious. Oh, it's a great.
So good. Oh my god! Yeah, Novella says no Tavor, all local.
I know, and I told him.
Yeah. What's funny is we can do like similar shopping sprees, and get like similar beers here. It's just they're all different, and that's why I love this hobby. That's why I love doing this channel and sharing this kind of stuff. Is there are so many different reaches of the country which have so many great breweries and distilleries. I don't want to discount distilleries at all. In fact, today I picked up two of my favorite bottles, two of my favorite bottles. One of which was a duplicate to an unopened bottle that I have here because I need to send it across the country. I owe someone, and they're getting their payback tomorrow. I picked up a Big Bottom Distilling Delta Rye, which is a 111% overproof 100% rye. It's a straight rye. It is one of the best whiskeys I think that exists. It is so freaking good. And it's just this random distillery over in Beaverton, Oregon. Or Hillsboro. Right next to the Intel campus. Like it's literally like, half a mile from the Intel campus in Hillsboro. And then I picked up another one that is from a distillery down in Corvallis, Oregon. It's Vivacity. It's their native gin. And it is made 100% from spruce, juniper, and a whole bunch of other botanicals that are like 30 miles east of us. Like they go and harvest it from the Oregon high desert, and then they distill it into gin. And it's the best gin as far as what was that distillery called? Vivacity.
I think I think I was at the liquor store and they had samples that like, this smells like Christmas.
The native gin smells like Eastern Oregon. It smells like driving through Bend.
Oh god,
it's that summertime juniper that you get driving through there, and the spruce oh god, it's so freaking good.
That's the gin you're like, this is not cocktail gin. This is straight. I just drink this.
Actually, I make a killer cocktail with it too.
Really? No, I like that type of gin. That's my favorite. Actually, that's not true. With that, it has to have a little bit of a malt backbone. I love the spruce with a malt backbone. That gin right there is perfect for drinking straight. I I do prefer a sweeter gin. The drier gins are the ones I go for cocktail mixing. But sweeter or high juniper end, because if it's not sweet, I'll add just a dash of simple syrup to it. Then it's perfect with just on ice. Like, oh,
yes,
so great. And I don't know why people don't like gin. It's fantastic.
Gin's amazing. Gin is such an underrated cocktail.
It is. It's so spirit.
But yeah, no, and both of those are just like on my shelf, but you can't buy them outside of the valley. Like they don't distribute anywhere. And you know, a lot of these beers, like Surly doesn't distribute, you know, even to the Rockies, let alone the other side of it. You know, New Glarus doesn't distribute outside Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, you know, getting all of these beers, all these very unique, various styles, it's why I love this hobby. You're constantly getting something new.
Well, that's also like, I love the something we do in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, if you like this channel, you got to join that, because the description's in the link below, or the description link is in the description below. Minimum is $1 to join, and you're going to get this community. It's an awesome community. But something we do within this community is every Christmas we do with the Secret Santa, and it is regional based. So where you're at, we can do that. But something that we like to do as the host is send a lot of our local stuff, beers that are local to us, that were our favorite, and like we were just at with the episode 300 Santiam. You know, we send the Pirate Stout, one of our personal local favorites. You can't even get it within, you know, 100 miles from us. Southern Oregon, you can't get this beer, but it's probably one of the best stouts we enjoy the best.
Oh god, yeah.
Rum barrel aged coconut imperial stout. You know, it's so fantastic, and usually we send that out almost every year to someone in the community, and they're like, this is great, this is fantastic. So we send local places, just like you said, like it's the stuff that we love, and we love receiving that local stuff. So again, also a plug for the Discord, so go check that out.
Yes. Yeah, no, if I you know, I'm almost done with this beer. I need to finish this one so I can get to my second. I was going to say I had a third one if I needed, and it was a Block 15 Sticky Hands, another beer you can't buy outside the valley. That is a quintessential West Coast IPA.
It is. Oh, like you want to know what a West Coast IPA tastes like, and it's a good, and technically Imperial, I think 8.1 esque. Yeah, I've sent that one even to people in Canada. Like, this is a West Coast. They were reviewing West Coast styles,
right? And
they drank it like this is like, to them, was drinking weed. Yeah, it was their example, and they were French Canadian, so it's the east side of Canada. And they were just like, this is too danky. It's like, no, this is standard danky for here, and we want even bigger a lot of times. So yeah, it's amazing to see all of the different places. And again, that's why I like Spotted Cow. Spotted Cow, to me, is a great, fantastic beer, but it's like a farmhouse saison. It's got this spice to it, and it's so different to have because it's one of these sessionable, drinkable beers, but it's not pale, it's not IPA, you know, any of that stuff. So that's why I love it. What do you got?
So I mentioned that I had two beers that were out of season. One of them late, one of them early. So I'm opening the early season beer, and that is from Rogue, Newport, Oregon. Nationally distributed, but only some of their beers. They distribute like Dead Guy Ale, you know, a great entry into craft beer.
Did you get the Imperial Dead Guy IPA?
I haven't found it yet. I keep looking.
It's right up there with Cryo Stash and all that. Like that $2.79 for 20 ounces. You're like, so quintessential Oregon.
Yeah, no, I have been looking so hard because the Dead Guy IPA was such a refreshing new beer. You know, the Dead Guy Ale is a classic craft beer. It's a craft beer that's, you know, 25 years old at this point.
Yeah.
But the Dead Guy IPA, using the same Same yeast strain and same hop recipe, and just changing up your malt a little bit and having it eat just a little bit more of that sugar and whatnot. It turned it into a wildly different beer and a darn good IPA. Really good.
It's it's a back to that quintessential Northwest, and it feels Oregon. Honestly, that feels stupid to say. It really does.
Yeah.
But it's like you drink, you're like, oh, that's Oregon craft beer.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway, from Rogue, I got their Neon Snowpocalypse.
I saw that.
It hit the shelf today.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I didn't pick it up again. I thought it was a little too early. I'm like, I'm still going through pumpkin spice stuff. This is too early to buy.
See, I skip pumpkin beers altogether, and I go straight for the malty crap. And this is still an Imperial IPA. It is a cold fermented IPA. And it gives a little bit extra malt punch to it, and so you get all those super high end, tropical. This is like melon, pineapple, and maybe a little blood orange, like that level of citrus kind of fruit. And you still get, it's still a dry IPA, but there's this super rich malt in the middle of it. Like this Christmassy malt that's just so freaking good. This is a really good beer.
That's a fantastic glass.
Fantastic glass. Yeah.
Fantastic looking glass. Oh, look at that. That's a good looking glass. I am going to grab my second beer.
So we are so spoiled here. We absolutely are. Anyway, I'll go ahead and wait for John to get back.
I'm back.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so I am going back because I already bought this pack, and I still have a bunch of it. Actually, I bought 2 packs because they were so good. But local Oregon, Ninkasi Hazy Imperial IPA.
Ooh.
Which is their Ecliptosaurus, essentially.
Have you had this one yet?
I have.
Okay. Okay. What's funny is I've had
craft computing glassware.
There you go.
It's a little more complicated to see than mine, but fantastic.
My problem with my glassware is it's so difficult to photograph. It's so complex and it's see-through, so how do you block off one side from the other?
Yeah. See, you need to go to the double CPU size. You got a single core or a single chip. You need to go to the double chip size.
There we go.
And really bump out your logo. That's your problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I love Ecliptosaurus because what's funny is I had never had the Ecliptosaurus before. I've had their Legend series, which is at the top end, it's Megalodon, it's Ecliptosaurus, it's Tricerahops, and there's one more.
There is the Mastodon one. Not the Mastodon, the elephant one, whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd had 3 out of the 4. I'd never had Ecliptosaurus, and it's not just choice. It was just like I'd never had it before. Yeah. And so I randomly just grabbed a can of it. And I said, this is so citrusy and rum inspired. If this was served to me, if I ordered like a rum drink at a tiki bar, I'd be happy.
Oh, no, I love it because I had one yesterday, and something I did was I aggressively poured it to really bring out that head, and then I let it sit. Mm-hmm. I let it sit for like 5 minutes, and I swear the malt of this beer was so much sweeter for some reason. And like aromatics and malt mixed perfectly. It just allowed that carbonation to seep through. Everything mixed perfectly. And almost like a nitro beer. You have to let the settlement come down.
There is something to that. And like I've been drinking beer for a long time. I've been reviewing craft beer for a long time now. it's a little different when you have to put thoughts to something and words to something and explain to someone in language they'll understand what exactly it is that you're tasting and experiencing and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm getting good at it.
Yeah. It's hard to say the same things over and over again.
Right. So I tried a beer, and it's actually in the review from my video yesterday. I don't know if you watched that, but it was the Electric Dream Machine IPA from Parallel 45 in Independence, Oregon. Really tiny brewery, off the map. But just a standard West Coast IPA, and I've had it multiple times. It's a really good beer. Anyway, I did pour it, but I poured it into one of our nucleated pint glasses, craftcomputing.store. And I gave it a little bit of an aggressive pour, just like you were saying. And the first thing that I noticed was the head on it was just like the super thick, foamy, like cling to your finger and not let go. Very much like this.
Oh, yeah.
What's funny is I've done that a dozen times, like hundreds of times with beers, like dipped my finger in the foam, taste it, that kind of thing. That foam on the Electric Dream Machine tastes like buttercream frosting out of a cake.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, well, also it's not just the beer, the malt. It's also how much carbonation they use to can it. There is a trick to that. There is a science. Again, back to what you were saying about trying all the different craft beers. You can even have the exact same recipe, but then store it at a different temperature, carbonate it at a different level. All of that will make the beer
on
change.
Draft, out of a can, out of a bottle, all different experiences.
All different experiences, and so it's fantastic. We've always told people, like, try a beer and try it to cold, medium temp, the optimal temperature, then a little bit warmer. You're going to get 3 different beers right there.
Yeah.
And
it's
and fantastic.
I feel that you and I, not to toot our own horns, we're some of the only beer reviewers that review beers based on, I'm going to drink this over 30 minutes and I'm going to pour it at, 36 or 38 degrees. And then we're going to let it warm up, and I'm going to suss out more flavors as we go along. I'm not just going to take one sip and then go, yeah, it's an IPA.
Oh, yeah, I know. All the other beer reviewers I see, because they're pumping out like 6 videos a day. Chug, chug, chug. It's great beer. Love hops. Yep. See you guys in the next one.
Right.
Done. Wait, no. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
I feel like... And again, not to get so far up my own ass, but I feel like you and I really do get into the craft of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only 2 sides that we will disagree on is the rating aspect.
We totally disagree on how to rate a beer, which is why I don't give my beers numbered ratings.
Yeah. No, it's like I understand, like, oh, this it's horrible. But I understand it took a lot of love to do this. But it's still horrible. Yeah. But the love, I give it an extra point. You're like, no, it's horrible. It tastes horrible. I don't care. It's bad. But it's craft beer. So let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that flavor. I'm like, yeah, but man, that's a hard flavor. And everything else is really good. It's hard to make.
But it says coconut on the label, and it's not there. Minus a half point.
It's like a whole point.
Whole point.
Or you and Steve, like a whole point. But vanilla is also the one that's hard.
Yeah.
There's no vanilla in this. Whole point, dog.
What's funny is vanilla I'm more willing to forgive, because vanilla is more of a subjective flavor, because there's so many different variances of it. And so if you've got a rich vanilla, it can almost appear like a toffee or a butternut or a cream or something, versus coconut is coconut.
Oh, it is.
It's just... So vanilla, I can go, it's a little bit creamy. Essence of vanilla, sure, I'll take it. Versus if you say coconut, I'd better freaking taste coconut in your beer. Because we all know what coconut is.
Yep. Yeah.
Don't inhale this one. It's not pleasant.
Speaking of coconuts and losing some coconuts, eBay might be losing a bunch of coconuts.
eBay has been officially sued by the Department of Justice to the tune of $1.9 billion with a B. However, I think this is going to get thrown out.
Probably.
I'm no legal expert, but I do know a thing or two about websites and protections for running websites with user-submitted content. And that's what we'll get into. eBay sued by the Department of Justice for $1.9 billion for allowing the sale of 343,011 emission-defeating devices specifically for diesel and other performance vehicles. So basically those guys that want to replace their ECUs so they can roll coal easier. One of the best marketplaces to find those ECU programming devices was on eBay. So Department of Justice brought a lawsuit, and they have fined people before to the tune of, and the official law for selling a device that defeats emission products is $5,580 per violation.
Yep.
Okay. For the sale of ECU tuners, aftermarket exhausts, or other parts that tamper with factory emission systems. And they're deciding to go after eBay. Here's the problem. eBay is a marketplace. eBay is not themselves selling these devices. They provide a platform for the devices to be sold. Not specifically for the devices to be sold. They provide a platform for anything to be sold.
It's essentially going to, like, I'm suing the Saturday market for this shop selling me something.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, if you get botulism from a backyard wine salesman at a Saturday market, do you sue the city for allowing that seller to sell you, toilet wine? Or is the seller the one responsible? Exactly. The marketplace isn't the one responsible. They were the one that organized the meetup place.
Yeah.
They're not going to verify whether something meets Department of Energy or the Clean Air Act or EPA emission standards, because they're also a global marketplace.
I don't sue Craigslist for when the lady of the night I get, it does not look like her pic. The computer I buy does not meet the specs.
Happens to us all.
Yeah, right? Same with Facebook Marketplace. I don't sue Mark Zuckerberg and be like, hey, this item is not what was told to me. I don't sue Amazon for being like, hey, this was not what's on here.
Thank you for bringing up Amazon. So it's a really funny thing, because there are hundreds of thousands of products that you can buy that are illegal to use.
Yeah.
Amazon. I was looking for, specifically this week, I needed a two-way radio that supported a wireless Bluetooth headset. I had a very specific need. I needed that device. It turns out no one freaking makes one. But as I'm going down the rabbit hole of what devices could possibly use two-way radio frequencies and support Bluetooth voice connectivity, Amazon started recommending me all manner of handheld ham radios and everything else. And you can just buy them for like $60, $100, $150. However, using a ham radio is illegal without a license. You have to go through a competency test with the FCC, and only use that radio on specific frequencies. In fact, even if you buy one of these handheld ham radios or GMRS radios that are on Amazon that are like 5 watt or 10 watt power, lithium battery powered, GMRS or two-way radio is limited to 2 watts of power transmission. You cannot broadcast above that outside of life-threatening circumstances, and that's the one loophole in the law. But you can't tune your ham radio to communicate on two-way radio frequencies and broadcast it at 50 watts, even if you do have a license. But here is Amazon selling these radios that are 5 and 10 watt radios that can broadcast on whatever frequency you want.
Yeah.
And they're illegal to use.
Yeah, and then you can even get into like state laws too. Like for instance, Oregon it's illegal to distill liquor.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go buy a distillery from eBay or Amazon.
Yep.
But they'll ship it to you to Oregon, and they know that's illegal in Oregon. But
I'm getting my essential oils, John.
Oh, that's it's true. I may or may have not done 2 or 3 videos on this already.
Technically, freeze distillation is also illegal in the state of Oregon.
No, freeze distillation is not.
It is. Any form of distillation in which you put in a base.
Freeze distillation was legalized 15 years ago.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was when the craft brew boom hit, it got legalized.
Yeah.
For cideries. Yeah.
Oh, for cideries. For Applejack manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cideries and meaderies are allowed to do it. So you have to have that particular brewer's license. I think there's...
I was talking as a general public license free. Any form of distillation is illegal. That's a federal law.
Yeah. I'd have to look that up. But I know for Oregon, because Oregon's very strict on the distillation law.
Right.
Freeze distillation, I know for a fact was lifted for cideries and meaderies a while ago.
Yes, you are correct on that. I was talking as a general public. What's funny is, as the general public, you can create mash, you can ferment, you can do a whole bunch of, you can age, you can do a whole bunch of different things to create ethanol. What you cannot do is take a mash product and boil water off of it or remove water from the mixture through either heat or through freezing. You cannot put a mash into a device and take water out of the mash and then pull out a mash that has a higher alcohol concentration. Like, they are very specific on, like, if you take something and put it into something and then take it out without some of the water in it, that's a form of distillation, and that's illegal. Which is just the stupidest damn thing.
Probably take that video down.
For educational purposes. It's still probably technically illegal.
I didn't say what state I did it in.
It doesn't matter. It's federal. That is all 50 states. It is a federal law. Yeah.
I have to look that up. Yeah, maybe. All right, so
yeah.
Nobody go look at those videos.
Nobody go look at those videos. They're for educational purposes only.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to the matter at hand, which is the Department of Justice suing eBay, an online retailer, which itself does not directly sell anything.
Nope.
They are a marketplace which collects fees based on transactions of sale of items from third-party vendors.
They're a hosting site, essentially.
They're a hosting site. That's exactly right. We're all familiar here with the DMCA. The DMCA states that any copyrighted material found online cannot be held... a website hosting that content cannot be held liable if a third party uploaded that content. Once they are notified of said content, they need to do everything in their power to remove that content. So that is what a DMCA takedown is. It is a notice of copyrighted material being present and the responsibility of the hosting company to remove the offending content. Because eBay does not directly sell items, they are not responsible for vetting local laws and regulations along the sale of said items. I know the Department of Justice wants to go after this, and in fact, there was a recent story in Oregon. This is from June of 2023, so just a couple of months ago. A Hillsborough man here in Oregon got 6 months in prison for selling and disabling emission controls on 245 vehicles. And his shop will have to pay $148,000 penalty to the US EPA. Because he sold diesel tuning ECU programmers and installed them. But in that particular case, he was a direct vendor. He was procuring the items and selling them as such.
Yeah.
eBay is facilitating the sale of a vendor's items, regardless of what they are. They're, they have categories to make it easy to find certain things, but the tuner culture is very broad. You can buy and sell, ECU components and programmers and Holly EFI, gear for whatever else. It's of no consequence because a lot of those items are legal for track use. They're not necessarily legal for daily driving, and you have to check your local laws and jurisdictions and regulations and emissions controls and everything else, and you still have to pass emissions in your county. And but if you're directly selling those and installing those, you're liable for the damages. eBay, I don't think is liable for these damages.
No, I agree with you. There's no difference between this and, again, like the old school, say, newspaper the selling ads area, and someone selling something illegal on that. You can't sue the newspaper for saying you printed this article or you printed this ad,
right? So
therefore I'm suing you. There's no difference between that,
right?
That's what eBay essentially was the digital sales page, but internationally, can the United States or government now sit there and sue you, or someone sue you for buying something overseas? Because eBay still does that. Something overseas can be illegal. Now, there's probably rules within eBay to stop that.
I want to know, of those 343,000 transactions, how many of those are U.S. stateside? Because not everyone has the same EPA regulations as the United States. And if they weren't sold inside the United States, then eBay, even if they were liable for those sales, wouldn't be liable for sales that went out of the country.
Yeah. So but even then, they're not liable. That's the thing. They're really not.
Yeah.
Is Verizon, AT&T reliable for the drug deals that go over text messages?
Ooh, there's a good question.
Well, you know what I
love about the FedEx guy? He's a drug dealer and don't even know it.
Mitch Hedberg, there we go. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, do you want them monitoring all of your text messages and everything like that? But even still, that it's not. They can't stop it. They're not doing the illegal action. Now, theoretically, they could state to eBay, you have to give me the user's information, the seller's information, and we're going to go after them.
Totally. And
now there's that argument.
And it is definitely in the sellers or in eBay's best interest to cooperate with law enforcement.
There's that side. However, I would have to be a little bit, again, I don't know law, but I'd have to be a little bit more familiar on eBay's terms and services of selling items and what the legality of the agreement upon that.
The thing is, buying and selling most of these items, so if you're talking about like emissions control items, they're not illegal to buy and sell, because if you don't register a vehicle, you don't fall under EPA regulations. That's for if someone's building a car to be a drag car. That car doesn't have to go through emissions and get license and registration and pay taxes and everything else. It's ran 100% on private property. And so there is no liability or legality in that particular use case. Yeah. It's only if a car has to go through emissions controls and be registered with the state and be registered with the US and you have to go through all that.
Yeah. For all we know, this vehicle is being used as a farm truck on private property the whole entire time.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
But it's 1,000 acres, and he's got to drive from one acreage to the next over land. It's not road.
And he wants to roll coal while he's doing it.
Not the greatest thing, but sure, that's what he wants to do. You know,
I mean,
people
will drag race everything. There is drag racing series for everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many dirt drag racing, and dirt racing is more prominent than asphalt racing. Is the thing, because it's cheaper. I mean, mud racing of any type is going to be cheaper. I mean, how many times do we see tractor pulls or tractor competitions? You think that's not coal, or what's coming out of those pipes of those tractors? They do the same with trucks or cars or anything else. So I agree that it's, if they're doing this and registering this vehicle as a day-to-day vehicle, okay, I can see that, but you still can't go after eBay,
right? Because these items are not illegal to buy and sell, because there is private use exemptions for all of them.
Yep.
You cannot disable the catalytic converter on your car unless you live in a state where you don't have emissions regulations. I live in a county in Oregon where we don't have emissions. I don't have to go through DEQ. So I can remove the catalytic converter from my car if I wanted. So buying a test pipe for my car is not an illegal purchase in my particular jurisdiction.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it probably is just going to, eBay's just going to sit there and say, pound sand. Sorry. Their lawyers are going to say, yeah, whatever. We don't care.
Yeah. So I expect this one to get thrown out. Anyway, we got 2 more stories to get to. People are drinking less craft beer. Not in this house, they're not.
No. So here's the reason I posted this, because it was very hard to find some beer news, and this was the most interesting one. And the reason was of this article. This is Forbes, and they said they did a study to see why people were drinking less craft beer, and they said there's a 2% decline this year, the most since the 2020 COVID times.
Yeah.
They're saying, though, it's interesting because it's not health, it's not money, financial. It's no other reason other than that they're drinking other forms of liquor. I don't know if I agree with that, because all other forms of liquor, it's if someone's drinking, here's my thing. Really, the reason I posted it, because I wanted to get your thoughts on it, was I don't believe this article. I think more people, the people that drink craft beer, are going to stay with craft beer. Now, they might go with a lower version of craft beer because prices have increased a bit. But like I have done, I will go with like the Ninkasi variety pack. Okay, I'm not going to go with my standard. I'm going to go to my local bottle shop and go buy, 16 ounces and come back with $40 and only get 6 cans.
I will say, anecdotally speaking, it has been a lousy 4 to 6 months for revenue for me, and I can't remember the last time I went to my bottle shop and spent $200.
Well, even
it's been a while.
Even
my liquor shelf is dwindling.
I understand,
which is very weird for me.
Again, you're getting boxes of beer shipped to you, but
I also have a problem where I have nothing less than 10% to drink, John.
That's true. But even I'm at the point where okay, there's just particular debts I'm trying to pay off. So we're okay, on a bit more of a fixed budget on certain items. So it's okay, my beer is going to come from X. Now, I'm not going to go to the local bottle shop where I can buy whatever I want, or Tavor, and spend $100 on one bottle of beer. I'm going to go to the local grocery store, buy Ninkasi, Hot Valley. Again, all still craft beer. I'm not buying domestic. I'm not buying, as this article is stating, other forms of liquor, which I assume they're talking about the seltzers or the hard sodas or possibly cheaper end liquor.
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone that's buying actual craft beer is still probably buying craft beer, but probably a lower end value. And here's my other thing. I agree
with you. I think revenue is down, but volume is not.
Probably, and I think that's probably more what it is. I think it's more of people are wanting to buy it, but they're saying the breweries themselves probably can't afford to push out as much product, so stores can't keep it in stock as much, possibly. Maybe that's the case, but I don't think people are buying either domestics or seltzers or hard sodas or anything else. I think they're just... I don't know what the study is. I don't think the craft beer scene is dying. Heck, even Widmer and 10 Barrel just became craft again. Because they got bought up by that Canadian cannabis company. So they're technically now craft beer again. So I'm going to start buying them again. Not that I never stopped, but... also, I would say that, like, are they considering these breweries like, say, Hop Valley, who's technically not craft, or not 10 Barrel, but what's the other one that got bought out here in Oregon, in Bend? Anyways, but those breweries that are, or like say Goose Island isn't technically craft anymore, but the craft beer drinker would probably go and buy a Goose Island still, and I wonder if this survey doesn't technically count for that. So I don't know if the craft beer scene is dying or it's down. And saying it's down by 2%, that's not really that much, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say people are drinking less craft beer these days. No, I don't agree with that.
Someone said the whole seltzer thing. I think those are the... Again, it's hard to judge outside of my circle of friends,
That's true.
Because I hang with a crowd who is very much about craft beer, but there are those who are like, you know, do I buy the Deschutes fresh squeezed, or do I buy a 12-pack of White Claw Black Cherry? There are those people. They do exist. They walk among us. Be afraid. And so it's hard to really pinpoint exactly why. What I can say is, anecdotally, my revenue has been down for like 6 months straight. Ad revenue has been through the absolute floor. That's been a big part of it. People are spending less money on advertisements in general, which has hurt things. And that flexible money that I used to have to be able to go and spend $200 at my bottle shop or $150 or $200 at my liquor store, I haven't had that for a while. And it's been a solid 8 months since I've been to like a bottle shop or a liquor store. I've been buying a lot of things just directly off the shelf out of my local grocery trip. And so if that's what they have, that's what they have. And thank you to people like Novella Hub who send me like Herd of Turtles and Dragon's Milk reserves. Cause you're awesome. And I get to share this hobby with everyone else.
Thanks to the local grocery store that has a lot of stuff on sale in those carts.
I have a great local grocery store.
That's like $2 for this 20-ounce bomber.
Did I also tell you I made really good friends with the guy who buys the beer? So he will hold things for me.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So I walked through one day and I was checking out, and I had like 12 different bottles, and they were all different. And he goes, oh man, good choices. And I went, I need to, thank whoever shops for this place, because dang, you make good choices. And he goes, well, that's me. And I said, oh, we need to know each other. Hi, I'm Jeff. And so now when he gets like Goose Island, like he gets the Bourbon County Stouts, he'll put a couple away aside for me.
Oh, nice. Nice. Good man. Good man.
But I still haven't gotten the freaking rogue Imperial dead guy IPA.
Oh yeah, the need that.
I don't know why that's so difficult for me to find. I've been to like 4 different places and no one has it.
I don't know. I need 1 minute.
John's out. Tap out. We were talking about our favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes in the chat. So I mentioned the gosh, I don't even remember what joke I did, but my favorite Mitch Hedberg is definitely the Subway sandwich joke. It is the ooh, Zeus chimes in with $50, a bottle or two to keep the liquor cabinet full. Thank you, good sir. You know what? I'm gonna go to the store tomorrow. I'm gonna buy 2 $25 bottles just for you. That's what I'm gonna do. My favorite Mitch Hedberg joke sequence has got to be the Subway sandwich shop. I was in downtown the other day and I saw a duck, and I knew the duck was lost because ducks ain't supposed to be downtown. There's nothing for them there. So I walked into a Subway sandwich shop and I said, "Let me get a piece of bread." And they said, "We can't sell you just the bread. You have to buy a sandwich. We can't sell just the bread. Apparently the two halves ain't supposed to touch." So I said, "Well, give me a sandwich, but don't bother, or give me a sandwich, but it's for a duck." And they said, "Oh, if it's for a duck, then it's free." See, I did not know that. Ducks eat for free at Subway.
Subway.
Give me a steak. Give me a steak fajita sub. Don't bother ringing it up. It's for a duck.
For a duck.
There are 6 ducks outside, and they all want sun chips.
Yes. Yeah. No, you said the.
That is my favorite.
The FedEx guy doesn't know he's
FedEx guy doesn't know he's a drug dealer. Yeah.
That's the drug.
Yeah.
God,
so people were going through their favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes. My favorite is the Subway sandwich.
Yeah. God.
There are 6 ducks outside, and they all want sun chips. So good.
All right. We got what? One more?
We got one more, and that is that John Riccicello. Riccicello? I don't know how to say his last name.
Kelly?
Yeah. Riccicello?
Rick guy.
Yeah. Steps
Unity
down,
guy.
retires as the CEO of Unity after driving EA stock prices into the ground as the CEO of EA, and then suddenly getting hired by Unity, thinking that he could do better. And then he goes, "You know what? We need to monetize Unity more than we ever are. Tell you what if we effed every user Unity's ever had in the ass?" And everyone disliked that. And so now he's stepping down.
I want to see this guy's stock portfolio. How much did he short both of these companies before doing all of this?
Good Lord.
You know? Yeah. And then it's like, oh, it wasn't, or not even him, like his second cousin. Can we get a CEO into a company who hasn't tanked 7 other companies in the past? Like, you'd think these people would like read his goddamn resume beforehand. Well, I know it's here's one accomplishment he's had. He's been in the industry for X amount of years, so he must be good. Doesn't mean he's good. I'm sorry.
Right. Unity will close their third quarter 2023 financial results after market close on Thursday, November 9th, 2023, with a webcast to follow at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're really interested in what Unity got out of all of this, stay tuned to their public disclosure meeting.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, here's a twisted thought. This is me playing devil's advocate. What if people on the board of Unity wanted to do this and they hired him just saying, "Hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money and we're going to blame you"?
You know, there's probably some of that to it, and the thing is, a lot of us don't realize.
Like, look, I'm already screwed. So yeah, give me money. I'll take extra blame.
A lot of us don't realize or understand what goes on behind closed doors, because if you as an individual can walk into a boardroom and say, I will make each and every one of you $20 million, but every single person on this planet is going to hate this company from this point forward, and the only people who use it are going to be the people who have to use it, they'll go, you know what? Tell me more.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth. That is a true fact.
Yeah. There. So from the outside looking in, we're going, how can anyone possibly hire this guy? Really easy. The fact that he made $100 million for the 10 board members that they had, and each of them gets to, you know, never work another day in their lives. And you know, this guy goes, oh, I'll fall on the sword. Oh no, Twitter's mad at me. Oh shit.
Oh no, I don't even live in America, so I don't really care.
I don't know if I can live with myself. And oh wait, you said like 3 private yachts? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. What island should I retire to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna take a sabbatical in Italy in my private villa for the next 18 months. To think about what I've done.
I'm going to go through a lot of self-reflection through the bottoms of, you know, $1,000 bottles of whiskey.
I know. So I'm gonna do that while I buy this distillery.
Yeah.
And drink through them.
Yeah. And
then come back 2 years from now and do it again to another company.
Yeah. So it's disgusting. I hate it. Hail capitalism. It's what we have. John says, bet his beer fridge is always full. Yeah, but it's probably like freaking hams.
Yeah, probably. It's probably, you know, full of, what is Rhett like? Rainier. Yeah, it's probably Rainier.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jeff with his golden wall. I sold you all NFTs. Update on the studio coming shortly. Long and short of it is, I think I am finally in a position where we can apply for a permit. However, permits in Oregon are only good for 6 months, and
so you gotta wait.
I gotta wait until the rain is done, and
which is 9 months.
Which is I'm hoping to break ground sometime around like April, like at least April it starts warming up again. Yeah. And then in May we can actually like put walls up. So that's kind of the plan right now.
If May has good weather, that is.
Yeah. I'm more willing to work in May in the rain than I am in November in the rain, though.
Oh, totally.
So,
yeah.
At least there's a chance.
There's a chance, and you're probably going to be in the 60s humid in May, and then you're like, okay, I can go inside. And
versus like the low 40s in November.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then just pouring down. You're gonna get gallons on you.
Yeah, November, December are our worst months for rain. They're the worst months for temperature. We get low 40s in November. We get low 30s in December.
Even some January too. But
January also. January tends to dry out but be very cold, and then the rain returns in February usually.
Yeah.
But there's always 1 week in February, and no one ever believes me.
It's like the last week of February or the first week of March.
No, it's like Valentine's week.
Yeah. Okay? Totally.
There's 1 week in February where we will just dry up entirely. It'll be like 5 or 6 days straight, and we'll hit 67. Nice. And it'll be blue sky and gorgeous and unseasonably warm. And there's always 1 week because I own a convertible and I live in Oregon. And so I know for a fact that my first top-down day is always in February.
Well, it's always, like you said, there's like 2 or 3 days in February. And then I'm pretty sure like 1 week in March is like where the flip that has come from. It's back to winter again. It's pouring down rain. And then April and May, it's really switches over. That's when you see the switch.
So
it's more of a mist than a pour down.
Right. Michael says, got to get the right permit. You need the permit that allows you to purchase the permit. I hate you right now.
He's not wrong.
So you have to register on the City of Salem's website, and go through a 72-hour approval process before you can apply for a permit.
Just thinking, you know what you should do while you're waiting? You should apply for a distillery brewery license.
Yeah.
Just to be like, on premise, I'm allowed to distill and brew from this location.
Ooh.
You're talking like $300 more. That's it.
You know?
And you could, and then if you order, because you're gonna have,
then I can legally do it.
You could legally do it. I believe you're saying you're gonna have like air ventilation for your server rack, right?
Yeah, totally.
So you could then say that's your distillation, ventilation.
Yeah.
So that's fine for your wort and boiling.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I don't see a problem with this. There were guys in Portland that make I believe Portland has the smallest microbrewery, which is out of some guy's shed. So, and he only brews like 20 gallons at a time, so it's fine. I believe the minimum for a microbrewery is 50 gallons a year.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, between me and you, I could just tell. We'll start it up. I'll start my stuff up again, and
yeah,
I'll just say I'm yours. We'll be fine.
I mean, honestly, if you wanted to come to my place and do all your distillate and microbrewing, like,
there we go. We'll easily hit that.
Yeah. I've been telling you, you need to do more microbrew content. You need to do more self-brew content.
I really want to. It's time management, and like you and I have been talking, things have been crazy personally. In fact, I got to go to Kansas City end of the month, because now I'm the guy that got to fly out.
Oh yeah.
So I'm the healthy one.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. So my job got more time. So
did you negotiate the new rate yet?
I negotiated the new rate.
Okay, good deal. Good man.
It was a good deal.
Good man. Deal. Yeah.
But they are expecting a lot, and and that's why content on like I used to be at least two things a week, or sometimes 3. Now it's like I'm hoping to get 1 a week.
Yeah.
Just it's even today was dumbest stuff. Oh my god, I hate it, and yeah. So whatever. If you want to hear me rant and complain about IT stuff, join the Discord. It's $1 a month. It's the stuff you'll ever hear, and everyone on there will have that on there. Similar stories to tell. It's a great community too.
The fan on the computer was driving me nuts, so I blocked it with a paperclip. By the way, the only fan on the PC was the one in the power supply.
That's a legitimate story. I literally told that's a legitimate story, and I told him not to do that. I had to pay the guy, like, promise me you will never do that again.
Yeah.
And he's like, maybe. Like,
yeah.
And his only reason was because, those power supplies, sometimes the fan starts rattling because the screws are loose or too tight or whatever. That's the only reason. And there's no one in that room. It's just the 30 seconds he steps in there to press send on the email.
Wow.
And it was just like, just call me. I will fix the power supply. I will order a power supply for you. It's fine. Don't die.
Yeah.
By sticking this in there. I was like, oh my gosh. It was
that was
so
such
if you like that type if you like that type of content, go join the Discord. But there's also other type of content. There is movie content, meme content. There's a buy and sell awesome place community. The community there is so fantastic. Trust me, if you love tech, if you just love a good community, if you are tired of the stupid Discord communities that you are joined on YouTube, trust me, a minimum dollar a month, you're going to enjoy this one. If not, I'll guarantee you a sad face as you leave. But trust me, you're going to enjoy it. You're not going to be disappointed. Plus, like Jeff said earlier in the show, you get the chance to talk to ourselves, myself, Jeff, Brett, Steve, all the other co-hosts. You tag us on anything, we will guarantee to supply. One of us is always on there.
Yep.
At any given time. Like, people are on there at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Steve starts his day at like 4 a.m.
Yeah. So we are always, that's West Coast time, by the way.
Yeah.
We are always on there.
Right, but I end my day at 2 a.m. And so it's like one of us is awake, I promise.
Yeah, so we're always on there. Honestly, there's something for everyone. It's not just a tech community. It really is. Also, by the way, if you do enjoy this type of content with myself, Jeff, Rhett, Steve, the live comment, or Jeff's awesome videos on tech stuff for home labs, all the other stuff, make sure you gotta share the stuff with other people. Copy the link, share it to other groups, share it with your friends that are in the tech world. Trust me, we want this community to grow. We want to build this area. If you love this community, share it with others.
Yes. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This has been episode 305 here on Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Follow me on social medias at Craft Computing. Follow John at Hops and Brews. Links where to subscribe to both of our various YouTube channels are down in the video description. Go on over to craftcomputing.store. Get yourself a Craft Computing or a Hops and Brews pint glass with nucleated bottoms so you can actually enjoy. They are so good.
They are. It's great.
I am so full of myself for this, but honestly, it's one of the best things that I've ever done.
It is. It's one of the best nucleation glasses I've ever had, too, by the way. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I've had a couple nucleated glasses. These are something else. So
yeah, no, these
especially when you pour and it vortexes. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
you get that.
This keeps the party going essentially. Within your beer.
It's pretty good. Yeah, craftcomputing.store. Grab yourself a pint glass or one of the other drinking accessories we have over there and start drinking like a pro. Anyway, make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and as always,